quicker through the air this time. But John, moving into the 40s, highest score we've seen at this ground. Plenty of other big knocks adding around the 値, but yet to see anything of this substantial nature. And closes with 2 dots from the over 5 from it, 72 for 2. Nate, what do you think the Raiders are targeting after seeing that first game? Or where do you think they should target as well?
Right now, I'm thinking you got to look at 150 after this start with just two lost. Now, once again, there's the question mark of will everybody be able to navigate this the way that 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 has? Now he's been figuring out the wicket, so has the Atlanta Fire bowling side. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀's probably figured it out a hair sooner. And that's why he's got such a good total up right now. You have to imagine that any new batter is going to have a trouble for a couple of overs coming in, so wickets are big.
Oh, it beats everybody. Fortunate, very fortunate is Sujith Nayak.
And unlucky Steven.
It's just feather edge. There, signaled as runs. Stephen Taylor. He's clamoring for a catch, but it was definitely a bit out of the reach for cover.
It's just out of Zishan Maksud's reach, you would say. From Steven's angle, he thought it was a better chance than it was. Wasn't really a chance at all. The hero is directing traffic right now, or stretching his arms.
He's pushing that mid-wicket fielder into more of a cow corner, and square leg has just gone right to backward. And opted for that Yorker option to Stephen Taylor. Good comeback after 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀's initial onslaught. Still an expensive day for Stephen Taylor, you'd say. Halfway through his third, he's given up 27 without taking a wicket.
Especially considering his most recent innings went for 16 in 4 overs for Atlanta Fire on Sunday in the minor league cricket final.
On this field, can't really afford things like that. Doesn't most look to take Steven on even more. Square leg continuously gets pushed straighter. Oh, delicate. Great use of the pace from 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀. And Sunny Patel, excellent commitment from him.
What a hustle there from Sunny Patel. Really does give his all. He is kind of just does a little bit of everything for this team.
It feels like Stephen Taylor is in the game with Sujith Nayak, so much so. Yes, he hasn't created that one opportunity yet, but you feel that you're so close, and that's why there's a catching cover. Look at this. Another misfield. Second time in the over. Cannot do that. 3 overs, 32 Taylor's given up. It's 81 for 2. Evans for 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 and he'll have a smile to share with 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, both of whom were members of the Atlanta Lightning back in 2024. 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 was actually his captain, remember, in John's lone year in the Southern Division.
Yeah, that's right. 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, he did one season in Major League for Seattle after that year where he led the league in wickets. Took an astronomical number of wickets in 2022, cleaning up everything as a closer pretty much. Took most of his wickets in the death.
Hasn't really found a length today, has he? It doesn't seem like he's really in control consistently.
And we haven't seen a ton of those slower dipping deliveries either yet. But yeah, that's 2 full right there. Now, if he's throwing his best dipping slower ball at that same arm slot, that thing is going to come down and pitch at Yorker length for sure.
Slight interruption here as Nike has to change the pads and tie a shoe. What's the plan to 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂? 47 runs to his name. Nicely stopped. Dealt with all the juggling bounces beautifully.
Very well stopped at the boundary there. I think that's exactly the way 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂's going to take on 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂. He knows how dangerous 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 is. If you try to go big and you lose your shape and you just try to outdo him, there really is no scoreboard pressure right now, which works against 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 and it works to the advantage of 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂.
And 50 for 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, carrying over his unbelievable form from Major League, from Minor League, in to this Atlanta Open.
It's continuing a great summer into the fall for 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂. He's just ever present. He's always in the conversation.
And these two have done an exceptional job, even while the boundaries aren't flowing. They're at least able to milk singles, and you feel the fire so far out of this contest right now.
Absolutely. The Raiders Unlimited are in full control right now. Wicket could change that, though. If 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 falls at any point here in the next couple of overs, it gets very, very, very interesting. But he is not looking like he wants to be the victim of 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 here. Sometimes you think you see a meatball with 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 your eyes get big, and then the ball disappears. You end up putting it straight up in the air or missing it entirely.
Right now, it feels like the Raiders are in cruise control. After only managing to get to 130, they are already in a great position. Moves the score to 87 for 2.
Yeah, this is the driver's seat. You want to get to that 15th over with wickets in hand, and they got a mess of them right now. They got a whole heap of wickets in hand. Only lost 2 for 87 runs. Here it is, Steven Taylor with the ball still. Yes, he had that expensive first over that went for 16 runs, and he's been uncharacteristically expensive throughout the course of his innings, 32 runs from 3 overs. But as you said, the last over that he bowled, he is asking questions here when Sujit is on strike. You got to imagine 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 is seeing the same thing we are.
Just the one. But intent clear from 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂. You can see he's not looking to only get one. He's going to use his feet, look to lift, And I'm just curious if Sujit's approach is the very same. He's been profitable going straight, but hasn't scored in any other region of the ground against Steven. Turn. Genuine turn.
"28 runs from this partnership."
Better at backward point. Here's the pressure that you spoke of. Here's where Steven Taylor, he's been at his best today.
Yeah, he likes the lefty.
Gonna land safe. Will find himself so unlucky there, Steven Taylor.
He got the best of Sujit, but that brings up 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 here. Yeah, you don't think they were really focusing on even considering taking two, as long as 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 was brought to the crease.
Very, very simple. Steven Taylor has his man. It's 50 and out for 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏.
Looks like 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 was the one that was underneath that one, and he was underneath it so long that he almost second-guessed himself. Sometimes the easiest catches are the ones that get spilled, but he handled this one, and that is the one you want to get. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, who has done such a tremendous job. Did the fire get him out in time?
Only time will tell. It's 89 for 3 as 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 departs for 52.
Snell Patel, looks like. Coming into the middle.
In a great position are the Raiders, even with that loss of 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏. In a position where you sat there and say, okay, platform sets, chance to get to 150 and beyond, definitely on the cards. And Snell Patel, he's someone who comes in with a reputation of his own. He's played a lot of cricket back in India. 40 first-class matches to his name. Has a first-class average at around 30. And takes advantage of the loosener early. Tremendous work in the field yet again from the fire.
Looks like Rishi Pandey out there scampering to get that one. Very well stopped at the boundary, and that's the end of Steven Taylor for the day. He was expensive, 35 runs, but he got 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 here heading into the 15th over.
Snell Patel, Nate, someone who has been all out on the Pacific Coast, out for the San Diego Surf Riders, had a pretty decent minor league this year.
Yes, he did. I heard his name quite a bit. We probably said his name a bit on the minor league show on MLC Network. See a lot of traffic being directed out there. Hiru, Steven, Sunny Patel, as Zishan Maksud is going to bowl his final over. My goodness, how good has he been?
He's only given up 9 runs. That's ridiculous. The way he's played, taking the one wicket, and I think he's eyeing a second. Meticulous with the way he's changing the field at the moment. Wants every angle to be right. And someone who carries his kind of international experience would be given the license to do so. It's remarkable how much that ball just kicks from really out of nowhere.
It's done it all day. Come on, at this particular end, we've had some surprises, some highs and lows. Seems like more highs than lows as far as the bounces have gone.
Now with the lefty, another change in field. Very meticulous again. Long off, much straighter. Naik wants 2. The Fire have been exceptionally quick in the field.
Very quick in the field. But this is what you want with the Raiders. Unlimited. Not too long after the wicket has fallen. Rotate strike. Stay in the game. Keep the spinners from pinning you down and setting you up.
But give the Raiders a lot of credit. They have not gone to a phase or a period of the game where you said, they can't score.
That's right. When they've had a bad over or a slow over, they've answered it with a decent over at least. Really only we're building up a lull there between overs 9 and 10, but that was alleviated by a big 6 there towards the end of the 10th over, just in time, helping to relieve some of that pressure.
Remarkable to see a slip in the 14th over. And you can just see, again, the problems 𝗬𝗏 has caused. Just 13 runs he's given up. You go 4 overs 13 in a T20 against this kind of batting lineup. Goodness, that has ended up arguably passing at head height. Close to 1594 for 3.
Yeah, it's a good thing 𝗠𝗎's got some of the best gloves in the region and the reflexes to match. Well, we are in here for a good finish. 94 for 3 with 5 overs left. If you are Raiders Unlimited, you're happy. You're very, very happy. If you're Atlanta Fire, you know you got to do something quickly.
What do you reckon the Fire are happy to chase?
Oh, I think that the Fire want to probably hold them to 130 or less for certain. Puts a lot of pressure on you. You get any north of that, even 130 itself, I think. The thing that the Fire have in their favor is just the depth of their team. But at the same time, I don't know if this particular 11 has the depth that like Atlanta Lightning had earlier today, where you're putting in Jesse Singh in at number 10. That is just absurd. And that's what it took for them to put up 150 in the first innings.
And I think they're in a better position, to be honest with you. The Raiders are, because you have the wickets in hand, like you mentioned. That's the big thing.
Right.
And you're going into different pace bowling at lineups.
𝗭𝗲 very full on that and wide. Unusual loose wide delivery from 𝗭𝗲-𝗂𝗃𝗄𝗃.
He's unhappy with the call, but unhappy in the 𝗭𝗲𝗃𝗄𝗃. Just a little smile.
Oh, we saw him this morning. Really lights up your day, I think. Sometimes when you talk to 𝗭𝗲, just the attitude that he has, the way he carries himself.
Yeah, I mean, and you notice it straight away. You don't have to do much talking to him to notice it, because as soon as you say, "How you doing, 𝗭𝗲?" he's like, "Always good. Life's too short."
Yeah.
Every time. That's his phrase. And he's not just saying that to say that. He genuinely believes it. And you can see it by the way he goes about his day and his career.
He's absolutely right. About life being too short, I'm on. You got to appreciate every moment of it. Like I'm appreciating this moment here in Atlanta at this Atlanta Open with you.
So lucky to be doing this. We got a kind of a late start to the party, but happy to be here nonetheless with the incredible production crew, and it's happening at both venues. There's a live stream on all 4 grounds, but 2 grounds have the full production, and we've got our very own Brian Walters, Lenya Chaibar, and Faisal Shad there commentating those. And it's so cool to see all the people around, to see Harsh Kandoy, to see ehimZ.
Absolutely, not to mention the incredible talent in the middle, right in front of us. We've gotten ourselves a really beautiful day here. And we are almost 16 overs through this first innings.
God, how good is 𝗂𝗲𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂? In this pressure situation, hasn't really gone to the strategy of just, okay, I'm going to let the wicket just do all the talking. He's gone wide Yorkers, and he's nailing the off-cutters as well.
He's not taking anything for granted. He's just going to go out there and be his usual self, as he tends to be in every phase, in every aspect of his life, it seems, from this point of view. Well, that was some interesting bounce on that one.
A slower ball that's just gone into the wicket and is absolutely ascended up. And you can see Snell Patel not really sure where to go or what even to offer. And almost better off to just leave those types of deliveries. But it speaks that it's not going to be easy to bat in the second inning. So every run that you can pile on, ever so valuable.
Struck, but not well enough. Just the one to long on. That'll wrap up the over after 16. Raiders Unlimited 99 for 3. We got 4 overs for them to pile these runs on. After that solid over from Shadley, where you would have thought that maybe there would have been some acceleration. Maybe Atlanta Fire are eyeing somewhere around 125 or so.
Yeah, again, it's not like the Fire can't bat here. Right? There's plenty of batting depth. The Ahad Maliks of the world, your Jamar Hamilton, the Hiru Malanta, Shadley von Skokvik, Zisha Maksud, Rishi Pandit. Who comes in for Stephen Taylor becomes your big question, but plenty of batting. And I think on any surface, they'll fancy their chances chasing 130. If you're the Raiders, I'm just curious who you're going to attack, because you don't attack Shadley von Skokvik, you might just be playing into the hands of the Fire, because Funny Samhadri is at his best when people are going after.
Yeah, it looks like we're probably going to see Funny here obviously in the 17th, and then probably again in the 19th. But you're right. When you don't save all your destruction for Funny, he'll make you pay. And there goes that full dipping delivery. Stopped well, and they're going to hold him to just 1 on that. Very good job in the field to get that ball in quickly.
Funny Samhadri would have been struggling with his length throughout the day. He felt that he was probably just touched too full. But this is where, again, his fuller nature becomes so valuable, because he gets the dip because of the revs that he puts on the ball with his cutters, and also that low arm slot that he'll just utilize every now and again. Right there, lower arm slot, much quicker through the air, much more difficult for Sujit Naik to get underneath.
Absolutely, and because of the lower slot, it doesn't bounce as much as you might think it might. And you saw Lahiru on the prior ball back for the lefty. Now he's up at the stumps for the righty. There's that slower ball, and it's up in the air. Fielder under it, and he spills it. Funny almost took the wickets that Funny takes, but he was prohibited by a sloppy job in the field.
Well, so casual about taking the catch. It was hit straight to him, and he wasn't even in position to take it. Slower, wider arm slot. Everything was kind of patented 𝗂𝗎𝗄𝗃 𝗂𝗃. And then right here, look, he's just so casual. Try to just walk into it. That's poor. That's really poor from the identifier.
Yeah, really rough stuff there. I'm going to run 2 on this.
It's a whole other game, too. You take another wicket, you get 𝗬𝗺𝗃 out of there, and then you might have to bring in 𝗬𝗃cije 𝗂𝗃𝗃 or 𝗂𝗍𝗃. Heath Richards would presumably be your next, but a new man having to adjust to conditions in the middle.
Absolutely. This one's cranked. The fielder will just turn around and get himself ready to go into the woods. What a shot.
That's cruel. Should have had the wicket, not of Sujit Naik, but momentum would have changed. Instead, you just slightly miss your length, and Naik says, thank you. See you later. Score moves up to 110 with 1 ball left in the 17th.
Well, this over just went from being a disaster for the Raiders Unlimited to being a major success. 11 off of it so far with 1 ball to go. That was just absolutely annihilated by Sujit Naik, who's showing some of that destruction that he put on display last season in the Super 8.
Yeah, and it's the reason he was picked up in Major League Cricket by the Seattle Thunderbolts. That's a side that already featured 2 left-arm spinners that they were going to retain, and Harmeet Singh and Ali Sheikh, both of whom bat from the left. And even then, they said, no, we need Sujit.
It's when finally gets the benefit of a interesting bounce to end the over with a dot. After 17, 110 for 3, Raiders Unlimited threatening to put up a really good total.
Yeah, and a really good position. Again, Sujit is seeing the ball, even with the extra couple of bounces that are going to come into effect. If he gets a hold of a couple, they're going to be gone. 𝗬𝗺𝗃 at least is able to find singles. It's not the formula that the Fire would have wanted.
No, you got to keep your chances. They spilled 𝗬𝗺𝗃 there on the 3rd ball of the 16th over. We could be dealing with a whole brand new batter in the middle right now, trying to get his eye in right at the end. Not an easy thing to do. And this Raiders Unlimited team is full of batters who love to bat in this phase. Abhishek Pardkar has done tremendous to improve his batting over the last couple of seasons. Leaned on heavily by East Bay Blazers in the minor league. Heath Richards, of course, very, very destructive.
And presumably he would be next to come in to bat, especially given the phase of the game.
Climbing the ladder there, it's a wide. Camrul is not the most thrilled about it.
It's the benefit of being a smaller individual. 𝗬𝗺𝗃, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt there. Again, it was rising. It was quick. It was marginal, but I think it is the right call in the end, Nate.
Yeah, hard to argue against it. It's clearly over his head. Look at that. Lahiru had to go up top, make himself big just to get a chance to catch that. And this was in the wide, this time down the leg. Not going to dispute those, but Camrul has looked pretty good. He was handled pretty well, I thought, by Unmukt. But he did get the wicket. Flicked directly at Jamar there in the deep. Well, he throws the ball in so flat and hard.
what's your plan to 𝗬𝗎𝗍𝗍? Someone who, again, is looking to attack you straight. You've really got to be on a length here trying to slide across. You don't want him to be able to launch into you in the V. Force him to play on the back foot and force him to play square.
Flashed to the boundary to the chase, but it's not going to end in the favor of the Fire. 4 runs for 𝗬𝗎𝗍𝗍.
I think that's too easy for him. Again, he's so good on that front foot. When he can clear it, he can just then throw his hands. He's got great hands to the ball. You'd rather want him on the back foot, trying to take on the bounce of this surface.
You see him handle the full deliveries to the offside very well so far for some boundaries. You know what he's capable of. Camera saw what we saw when he blasted it into the trees. I think you're right. You have to hit length with him. They've just moved another fielder over to the offside.
Better, right? And that right there is an example of you force 𝗬𝗎𝗍𝗍 now to play a different style. He's not able to clear his front foot, wait for it to be full, and use his hands. He's had to now go to innovate, try to take it into the onside, and then have to deal with a bounce. So you give him multiple things that he's dealing with, and that's where you've seen 𝗬𝗎𝗍𝗍 struggle, whether it's minor league, major league, or here in Atlanta.
Up in the air. Saved at the boundary by Jamar, but it looks like they'll throw it in and they're going to signal here.
Yeah, stupendous by Jamar Hamilton. I think he kind of bailed out of the catch at the last moment. And then, have a look at this. One-handed, climbs the ladder, full air Jordan, gets it back in and keeps it to just 2.
Yeah, great job by Jamar. Boy, he is just everywhere. He doesn't need the gloves in his hands to make an impact in the field. Now wide is given here as Camera targeting the wider delivery.
Yeah, and again, I just don't love the ploy of that full. I just think it's letting 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗍 off the hook. If you've already told him, hey, I'm going to push it wide and full, he's just going to maneuver outside the off stump and play it in his arc.
Up in the air. Jamar's got a long way to run. What a good stop once again as it took a high bounce on him, and he was able to stop on a dime and jump up and get it. You can't keep this man out of the game.
He's got a Stairmaster, that's for sure. Brilliant. There's your Super Mario leap, Nate, that you referred to. That's the B button.
B button. That is the kind of ball that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going to head when he's in his action on full flight. A bit of a timeout here for the batter.
𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has quietly moved to 38, just off 31. And if, again, he stays until the 20th over, 150 is not the only thing on the cards.
Full. Doesn't do anything with it, though. Just going to be the 1 run. That's going to bring up, finally, the end of an over that featured 3 wides. 18th over ends at 120, 3 for 3, and Raiders Unlimited have to be happy with how things are going.
You're just curious to see what the Atlanta Fire are thinking now. Like, do they believe that 150 is a chaseable total here? Scoreboard pressure is such a huge thing. You see something we've seen more and more in T20 cricket are these strategic retirements. And given we get to this point in the game, in this phase, you're seeing the retirement of Snell Patel. Yes, he was dropped. And I'm not too concerned about that. They want to bring in one of their bigger hitters, someone that can come in and just whack the ball around. they've elected to go with Daniel Lamb.
Daniel Lamb from Sussex. See Danny on the back of his shirt there. Well, he's going to want to wallop this thing around and justify his presence here in basically a pinch hit situation.
And they have a plethora of those options too. Again, Heath Richards, Abhishek Pararkar, two guys that can play that role. And then 𝗂𝗍𝗃, he would feel confident in his own ability. Still yet to see Daniel Babb.
So we see Shadley for the 19th. Guessing we'll see Funny from the other end. Very full. Sujith is going to bring Lamb on to strike, and we're going to see what Danny can do.
Yeah, again, we sent out with a very specific role, saying, look, we've got guys that can hit behind you. You're in here to push the boundaries on the board. Don't collect any dot balls. But if you come back to a 6-off-6 with 6 singles, you haven't done our job. If you come back to a 6-off-6 with a 6, maybe we can forgive you. That's going to be what they say to him.
Yeah, I think if 5 of those are at the length where the bounce is unpredictable, then I think you'll forgive him. Shadley here in the death. This is something he specializes in. It does quite well. You know he's going to bowl to the situation. He always plays to the situation. Turned on, high in the air. Caught, juggled, caught again. And that's the end of the day for Danny. And Shadley delivers in the death.
Tell me something you don't hear every day, Nate, because that's just the 5 o'clock news. Try to heave it into the onside, slightly bigger for the right-hander down there. And the Fire, who have had their problems in the field catching the ball this time. Yep, 1, 2, 3, they're all the same. Bobble or not, you'll take them as a catch in the end. The punt to Lamb doesn't work out, and it's 124 for 5.
Looks to me like Heath Richards is making his way in now. And like you said, nothing really lost as far as the team's concerned. Daniel Lamb tried. He certainly gave it his all. Just missed.
Yeah, slightly into the wind as well. Probably a couple of factors that let that happen. But again, he was not concerned about the wickets in hand because Heath Richards is another one of these big hitters. Ask Haris Rauf when he experienced the full end of Heath Richards in 2024, nearly winning the game for MI New York against the San Francisco Unicorns. Needed 4 from the last after having hit Rauf for 15.
Shadley finally takes a wicket here. He's bowled quite well. Only 15 runs so far. 4 balls left for his day. And Heath Richards. You see the intentions there from Richards. He's off the mark on the first ball.
The thing about Heath is he tends to give himself an opportunity early. He's not going to just try to rush his way through unless the situation absolutely requires it. But you sit there and say, okay, I can take a ball or 2 balls. If it's not there, just push it. Sujith is batting well. Let him be the main guy looking for boundaries. And then when my time comes, I can go after it.
Yeah, Nayak has done some kind of a great job here today. Oh, he annihilates this. Just smokes it. It's a backyard ball. 6 runs.
Just waited on the bounce. The bounce was odd again. Another one of these cutters from 𝗃𝗃𝗃. It just sat up a touch. And Sujith Nayak had the time that he needed to send it away. Huge 6 to bring up the 130. And Nayak, he's moved into the 40s.
I don't know if there's any hope to get that ball back. It looks like they already kind of have one in the middle just in case they can't get it in any kind of time. It's really thick over there, Alon.
It'd be a heck of a job by the ball finding committee to get that one. Oh my goodness. It's come back.
They got
straight
it.
away.
Well,
Brilliant.
I think it was Jamar Hamilton in there, Pup, aka Pup, sniffing that one out in the bushes. And the hound is on the trail. Well, 2 to go here in the 19th over. Raiders Unlimited 131 for 5. 2 dangerous batters in the middle right now. Sujith is on fire. He's hit a couple of massive sixes so far today. Heath Richards equally capable. Off the edge, it's going to fly away into safety. And they're going to run 2. Ooh, collision there between 𝗂𝗑𝗪 and 𝗫𝗫𝗫. I wouldn't want to get in 𝗫𝗫𝗫's way, that's for sure. But 𝗂𝗑𝗪 looks like he's smiling about it at least.
It's good to see no one's hurt because of it. Both individuals, I think, were just caught up at ball watching. 𝗂𝗑𝗪 obviously back turned, and 𝗫𝗫𝗫 just trying to time his run. And last second, able to just brace himself.
Just one of those inevitable collisions. Sometimes they happen. You just can't.
You got to steer into the skin sometimes, right?
Yeah.
133 for 5, and again, Sujith 𝗫𝗫𝗫, he's on 48 now, eyeing a milestone.
I see he might get it here as it goes away for 4 runs. 𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫, raise your bat. 52 from 36 so far, and he's got a whole nother over to work with.
Oh, captain, my captain. Sujith 𝗫𝗫𝗫's been brilliant today. 137 on the board, and his 52 off 36 after his initial struggles with Stephen Taylor have really led the way. Remember, the Raiders are in a situation where if they lose, they could almost effectively be out of the Atlanta Open on opening day. So they needed a big stand, won the toss, chose to bet. Unmukjan started the day, and Sujith 𝗫𝗫𝗫 looks to finish it.
And it looks like we're not going to see Funny. We're going to see 𝗂𝗪𝗏. He's got 1 over to go. Bit expensive so far, 31, but with 1 wicket. And right now, Raiders Unlimited must be looking at 150. They got to be telling themselves they can get there with Heath and Sujith in the middle. That's a mammoth total. As we've seen this wicket do some strange things throughout the day. A run through. Take the extra run there.
Well, I think it could have been turned into a run out, but 𝗂𝗪𝗏 was just unable to pick up the ball. It was actually really nicely done to get the ball into him. And that's where the disappointment was from most of the field.
Well, Sujith won at strike.
So not a wide, but this is the man you want on strike if you're the Raiders. In full flow.
Walloped up in the air, but not far enough. Fielder under it. Taken. Zishan Maksud. And that's the end of the day for Sujith 𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫, who's done an awful lot of damage here.
Made it look really easy on the boundary. He was underneath it for what seemed like an eternity. It was hit so high. And he's just tight-roped that boundary. He's made sure he knows exactly where he is. And at the last second, just throws his left hand out. Yeah, so okay. No worries. Casual. I tell you, those aren't that easy. But that's the end of the captain, who's played a brilliant knock today. 138 for 6. And it brings out a man who the anti-fire aren't used to seeing in another color.
Yeah, 𝗂𝗍𝗄 dry. We've been talking about how many guys can come in here and smash the ball. 𝗂𝗍𝗄 dry can certainly do that. Also have 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃 on the bench, so but these guys can absolutely smash 𝗂𝗍𝗄 and Heath. And it looks like it was a great decision to turn to Kámról so far with the single and then the wicket. 138 for 6. This was heading directly for 150. An interesting shot there from 𝗂𝗍𝗄. Really, really cool shot, Aman.
This is something he's added to his game in the last couple of years. I felt like in 2023 he got carried away playing it. But to the seamers, he's actually gotten much, much better playing this stroke. Saw pace on the ball. Said, yep, absolutely, I'll take advantage. Fine leg inside the ring. And, again, this is part of playing so much T20 cricket. The bowlers that give you big shots with the bat tend to just find new ways to score. An added touch from Dry.
Tries it again. This one's up in the air, and it's caught. And that's the end of Dry, who delivers a 4, and then the wicket, and Raiders Unlimited at 142 for 6.
And this is where, again, I feel like 𝗂𝗍𝗄 dry let himself down because he's got other shots, but I feel like he just gets a touch carried away with it. He just tries to keep forcing it. The first time, yes, you're going to catch the bowler by surprise, but the second time, a little bit of adjustment, slightly slower, leading edge, and simply done.
We said he's got other shots. I hope our friend Joe Hickey is watching. Maybe a good research project for him is to see how often 𝗂𝗍𝗄 plays that shot this week. He's played it 2 for 2 right now, 100%. Strike rate of 200, average of 4.
Is it worth it? We'll have to wait and see. 𝗂𝗍𝗄𝗃, new man in. And here's an individual who has been given more and more responsibility with the bat. And again, so often we'll talk about a USA seamer and we'll talk about a third option. Here's a man who's made a debut, who is around the team, but it hasn't made a permanent fixture for himself in it. But his performances with the bat this minor league season prompt you to think, he could really be something special, especially given the fact that he was a regular season leading wicket taker.
That's true, and also, he's batting from the left. It adds a whole nother wrinkle. And this one, not where you wanted it. He'll get off the mark, and that'll bring in Heath Richards for the final ball. He's done a lot of watching, has Heath Richards.
Markedly, this will only be his third ball faced. And again, he's got so much power. He's also got an incredible amount of innovation. So that's why deep point has been sent back, because the Fire would know he likes to play that really switch hit.
There'll be a wide delivery. They'll have to do it again. So 144 with 1 ball left. Really big total right now on this pitch. Obviously, Atlanta Fire haven't played here probably more. Smashed. 6 runs over the running Shadley and Skulkbeck. And what a way to end the innings, directly at 150.
Tell you what, we were right down the barrel of this one. Stood up tall, got the length on, and he sent us a little gift. Thankfully, it just kept pushing a bit right. I thought we might have to maneuver you out of the way, Nate, off the bat. But brilliant from the Raiders. They dominated this innings full on. 150 is what they finished with, thanks to that 6. And Again, you talk about the 250s, talk about in a pressure situation. I don't think you can be much more impressed than what the Raiders did right now.
Pressure is on from ball one in the second innings coming up. There's a couple of questions about this batting side, one of them being, will we see Steven Taylor and when, and who would bat for him as a substitute? We're going to take a break now as Raiders Unlimited put on 150 for 7. We got the second innings coming up, so stay tuned and join us soon.
Welcome back to the 𝗵𝗺𝗴𝗲𝗂 Cricket Complex here in Ridall, Georgia. Innings number 2 and what's set to be a thrilling chase. The Atlanta Fire need 151 runs in this second innings to claim victory and essentially knock the Raiders out of the Atlanta Open before it's even begun. I'm Owen Patel, joined by Nate Hayes. As always, Nate, we have an absolutely sensational task on our hands and an absolutely sensational sight that we'll be able to witness here to close out the day in Ridall.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Everything about this is preferred by me. Beautiful day of cricket. A nice challenge for a very good team. And they're going to start off against one of USA's best bowlers.
It'll be 𝗏𝗂𝗎𝗓𝗓 and 𝗏𝗏 Pandey set to open with 𝗏𝗃𝐿𝐴 𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏, like you mentioned. So left arm spinner starting to the left-hander. Could be run out. This could be out. This could be out. No. Pandey quick enough.
Oh, close call. 𝗏𝗏 Pandey got a little careless, I think, deciding to run on that, but got in by the skin of his teeth. Unbelievable right there. What a way to start off here. Would have been a disaster, an absolute disaster for Atlanta Fire if Pandey couldn't have scored.
Tells you what to expect from the rest of the game if all one had that much in it. 𝗏𝗏 Pandey, he has had some incredible form as of late, Nate.
He certainly has in the Super 8 in the group stage, the 3 games. He scored 137 runs, 2 half centuries in that span. He was vital in getting the team to the final.
And I remember talking to him afterward, and I asked him, like, you know, has the intent changed? Was there a real intentional shift? He goes, no, this was just my natural game. Things just seemed to click. So that's the way he wants to play his cricket, that kind of strike rate.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable at Church Street Park. We're going to count on him again today. This is a pretty good size target. 151 on this particular wicket. Not easy, and this bowling attack from Raiders Unlimited looks very, very stiff.
And all this being done, presumably without Stephen Taylor with the bat for the Atlanta Fire. Always great to see 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗂𝗏. Again, one of the staples of that USA setup and team. And starts off with an over that just goes for 2 runs. There's 1 delivery left, but sensational start considering the fast bowling exploits to come, Nate.
Well, yeah, anytime you've got Heath, Richards, Corney Dry, Abhishek Parkar, you have options aplenty from the fast bowling department, but we do see 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 bowl almost every single time in the power play.
Have to rebold that one. It's a unique thing to see a left arm spinner really be so effective in the power play. He did it in the T20 World Cup against Pakistan. And wherever he goes, he's given so much trust. Oh, just over. I reckon that's a lot closer to a catch.
Yeah, hard luck there. That was very close to a catch. You have to think that that would normally be caught, but ending the first over with a 4, Atlanta Fire are going to be happy with that.
I think that's gone through his hands, Nate. It looked like it was going to be right in the grips, and it just went straight through.
Looks like Daniel Babb from Caribbean there.
Yeah, again, I believe that just went straight through his hands. That is a tough start because you get 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 out, and it also sets up 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's game, doesn't it? Because You have the left arm spinner going to the left-hander. That's a matchup the Fire would prefer. But on to the pace bowlers. 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃 7 for none. After the first, he's in to try to reduce that output.
Yeah, ภิrsukh. And one of the things Rishi Pandey has done quite well is give fast bowlers trouble with length. You can't miss short with Rishi Pandey. He'll make you pay. He's just so good at the back foot shot. He's so good at turning good length balls into something that's too short.
Just short. What a start from 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃.
You see this one jump up, catch the gloves of Pandey, and it would have been gone if they could have gotten to the. They could have gotten to it.
Sensational start. Again, the length here to target is the good length, and we've seen the ball just zip up when you bowl seam up and you hit that green patch. Great to see 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃 in the Atlanta Open. This is the very first time he's playing in the Atlanta Open. Actually, the very first time he's in Atlanta, period, Nate. And he's just excited to be a part of another Open.
Well, that's very cool. He led minor league in the regular season in wickets. He took a wicket in Major League Cricket out in Oakland in his one appearance in Major League. He was very happy with that.
I think it was just pad. I think it's just pad given. Lahiru saying he's dropped it. Everything happening here. Finger was risen. And Lahiru saying he's dropped it. Oh my goodness. Absolute chaos.
They're going to confer with each other just to make sure they get the call right, which is what really matters in the context of everything.
Given not out. Deemed to be a drop. Was it bat on the way through as well was the other question. I think it came off his hip either way, Nate.
It's tough. It's tough. But it was dropped, that's for sure.
Single for Rishi Pandey after all that. Finally gets away. It gives 𝗵𝗂𝗃 the first run against him.
Yeah, well stopped there. Mid off. And we'll see Lahiru now. Come on, Lahiru's got some versatility. We've seen him bat. We've seen him open. We've seen him bat in the middle. He's equally good in my mind at both things, or he's close to equally good at both roles.
Yeah, I think this is his preferred position, opening the bat, and I think that's where he's at his best, but you're absolutely right. So adaptable to different situations. And he would have seen a lot of 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃 as well. Both of these two in that Pacific Conference out on the Western Division. Obviously, 𝗿𝗵𝗃 for the East Bay Blazers and Lahiru this past season for those Thunderbolts. Before that, the Silicon Valley Strikers.
Washington Freedom as well.
In Major League Cricket does work there. And yeah, both of these two in that Washington franchise and would have seen each other in the nets quite a bit. Nicely worked away. Great effort on the rope, but goes in vain. 4 runs for Lahiru Malanta.
Very nice effort. It almost looks like, if we're going conclusion, that was going to go for 4, but for a second there, we thought he might have stopped it.
We've seen incredible efforts in the field, and again, because of the softest nature of this grass, and there's just a touch probably thicker than they would want it, even though it looks phenomenal, there are these long chases that go in effect.
The grass right now out here quite healthy.
There it is. 𝗵𝗺𝗃 has his man.
This one held on to. And 𝗃𝗫𝗯𝗹 will be disappointed in himself. 𝗃𝗏𝗃 would have really wanted to count on him to go deep, but what a good job at 𝗵𝗺𝗃 there. And he gets his first wicket at the end of 2. 𝗃𝗏𝗃 chasing 151 there. 13 with a loss of 1.
Huge there. He saw 𝗃𝗫𝗯𝗃 just point to the wicket and trying to just stopped on him, it seemed. That he was through the shot before it ever came. And so he's incredibly frustrated by that fact. New man looks to be 𝗂𝗄𝗃 Malik.
I've seen Malik a bit here throughout the South in the past. We know he likes to run. He's very active.
He's represented the Baltimore Royals franchise in minor league cricket. And he's very prolific up there on the East Coast. But now he's got an opportunity down here with the Atlanta Fire. And what will go hand in hand with him is Rishi Pandey's ability to be very quick between the wickets. So this could be a really good pairing. The other part of this, though, is that 𝗂𝗄𝗃 Malik tends to be a great runner, even to his own detriment.
Well, that's true. He's very eager to go. He's quite eager to go. You have to be on your toes when you're running with him. You have to be decisive. And it looks like 𝗂𝗄𝗃 is going to get the ball.
That's rather curious to me. You would have thought Nosh maybe gets a second? Or is it just with the left-hander again back in? They felt they wanted the 𝗃𝗫𝗯𝗃 matchup. Maybe could have been the big difference there. Check more of this from both Pandey and Malik.
Yeah, you do want to score some runs here in the power play for certain. After 2, Raiders Unlimited were 20 without loss after that expensive 16 run second over against Stephen Taylor. Right now, the Fire 14 for 1 after 2.1.
And you see the field shifting for the left-hander as there's not a deep third, it's deep point. So 𝗂𝗄𝗃 maybe just planning to be a touch shorter and a touch wider. 𝗂𝗄𝗃 back in the Butterbeers Cricket Complex since he left. Remember, was a member of the Atlanta Fire for the first 4 years of minor league cricket. When you thought of the Fire, you thought of 𝗂𝗄𝗃, and has since made the move to Philadelphia, has his job up there as part of an academy up there with Liam Plunkett, and was part of Philadelphians in this past minor league season.
Yeah, no question has he been affiliated with this Fire team in memory. One of the leading wicket takers in minor league cricket history.
And it's rather remarkable when you talk about the leading wicket takers in minor league cricket history. You would think about your Sarabjit Ladder, your funny Simhadris. But 𝗂𝗄𝗃 is maybe your one traditional pacer that's on the list of your top 5 leading wicket takers.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Ladder and Fani Simhadri have been kind of linked right at the hip as far as their statistics, their economy, and wicket-taking prowess just about neck and neck.
Excellently well bowled from the big South African. 𝗂𝗄𝗃 obviously has been in Major League Cricket, and he's been a part of the LA Knight Riders since their inception, and has been given opportunities every now and again, but it seemingly is so valuable because you talk about pace bowlers that give you something with the bat. 𝗂𝗄𝗃 is a prime example of that.
Yeah, 100%. We know how he can go big at the end. He can start you off and close out an innings with the ball.
Simple task. 𝗂𝗍𝗃 has his man.
𝗂𝗃𝗃 unable to continue that form from the minor league cricket postseason. He's going to walk away. Three from 12. Really disappointing innings from the young man.
Just an extra bit of bounce that 𝗂𝗍𝗃 extracts, and this wicket high on the face. You see it completely turn in his hand, and he knew it as soon as it came off his bat. That was never going to clear mid-on. He goes. It's 15 for 2. New man in. Looks like 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃. So it could be an answer to your changes in terms of your subs. Has he come in to bat for Stephen Taylor? Or has he come in to relieve maybe a funny Samhadri? That'll be a question we'll have to answer. I do like that innovation in the laws here in the Atlanta Open to allow you to just extend your batting and your bowling lineup a bit.
Well, it is kind of a showcase tournament as far as the best of the best. So why have someone buried on the bench? You could argue that.
Yeah, and it gives someone like 𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃, who's almost been buried on the bench a bit, an opportunity to showcase his skills in a tough situation against, like you said, the best of the best.
And according to what we've just been informed, he is in for funny Samhadri.
So it opens up the question, Stephen Taylor. Can he bat, and when will he bat? Close of over number 3, 16 for 2.
Well, Fire in a bit of trouble here, and it's not going to get any easier with all the bowling inside this Raiders Unlimited squad.
Yeah, no question. Again, you have 3 overs of 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗃 still to come. You still have Heath Richards that can give you 4 overs with the ball if you need, or just even a couple. And then you talk about the likes of Abhishek Puratkar, 𝗂𝗍𝗃𝗃. And then Sujit Nayak is going to bowl his left arm spin at some point in the day as well. Right now, it'll be Abhishek to continue. Why not? Gets the big wicket of Lahiru Malanta, and now has 2 right-handers to work at. Excuse me, a righty and a lefty combination still with Malik out there. Now wants that one back. 5 wides, going for glory.
Yeah, you don't want to let the pressure off the easy way, and this is the easy way right here.
And again, it's just reading these conditions here. With his pace, if he hits the length, he's going to find wickets. We saw it happen with 𝗂𝗍𝗃𝗃, and we've seen it happen in the first match with Jamar Springer and company. Carmine LaRue, how brilliant was he from the left?
It is a very successful style here in the USA. Anything from the left.
Struggling with his consistency now, but yeah, from the left, 100%, but also just on this surface. Again, the length, it's not having to reinvent the wheel here. It's very simple what you should go after.
That's true, and I think maybe Abhishek Puratkar having a little bit of trouble here with the run-up. As he kind of kicks away some of the dirt there. Make a better landing place for himself. He does have to kind of go up onto a lip.
Yeah, you can see the last couple strides of his delivery. He's almost just stuttering a bit. They don't seem as smooth as they typically feel. And every single time he comes back to his mark, you're absolutely right, Nate. He's maneuvering the landing crease. He's just trying to gain some footing.
You can feel that kind of the fall, the entrance of the autumn season in the air right now here in Atlanta. It's a very comfortable feeling.
Again, we're blessed today with the way the weather started to look in the morning. There were thoughts of maybe some rain showers, and then the big overcast conditions. There was a lot of wind. It did feel very, very scary that rain at some point was going to come down. But since it's cleared, the sun has come out, and we've gotten 2 full games of cricket on this field, and all around us there's 4 fields in action. And it's been an unbelievable effort to get all of those up and running and streamed live onto YouTube on the MLC Network. Big shouts. Excellent delivery, however.
It is absolutely gorgeous. You really couldn't ask for better than we have right this moment here in Atlanta. Very comfortable weather. Picture perfect.
No question. Bit of breeze as well. And we'll see if the Fire can take advantage of the weather and of the conditions being maybe at least aerially the best for batting. 𝗵𝗺𝗪 is really struggling. You can see frustration starting to mount with him as well.
Yeah, really, that run up, that approach is really in his head right now. The whole entire square you kind of have to run up a slight hill to get to the square.
And we've seen it cause problems in the past. I remember back in 2023, it was causing some members of the Marshall Raptors some issues. You have to get acclimatized to conditions, though, very quickly in these open-style competitions. There it is. Heavy ball. Hits high on the face. That's where 𝗵𝗺𝗪𝗪 is dangerous.
Yeah, very well bowled there by 𝗵𝗺𝗪. I spoke to him recently in an interview that was published on MLC Network on this same YouTube channel. You can check that out under the minor league cricket content, the minor league cricket 2025 playlist, I believe. But it was great talking to him about how he's come around and his experiences the last year or two.
He was telling me earlier today that it's only his second time playing an open-style competition. The only other time was the LA Open. That would have been 3-4 years ago at this point now. And so he was like, I just want to play more and more, be part of more and more of these competitions, and feature in some of the other domestic opportunities that are in store for him.
Well, he's improved year by year with the ball. He's definitely improved. Very dangerous this season in minor league. And he's trying to recover from a kind of a rocky over here.
Lift. And serious lift off from 𝗵𝗺𝗪𝗪 to close what was an over that had plenty of extras, 28 for 2.
He still survived with all those extras and byes and wides, and still only managed a couple off of the bat. And we've gone from 16 for 2 to 28 for 2. The pressure definitely not off. Fire still in quite a hole right here with 2 overs left in the power play, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 looking to get the ball right here.
I think the biggest concern is the fact that you don't have a batter who looks comfortable. You're holding wickets together, sure, maybe now with 2 wickets down, but the thing that set the Raiders apart was that Umuk Chand was in and batting and looking very good. Manik Patel for the Lightning earlier was in incredible flow. Right now, neither batter seemingly is there, and you're running out of time to get that batter in rhythm.
You absolutely are. And let's see how 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 tackles this challenge of 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, single to start the over.
And again, I think for 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, this would be a great opportunity for him to be in Tibet. He'll probably be in for most of the season, or excuse me, the tournament. But he's got to do just this. Singles. Make sure he's moving at a 100 strike rate, and then look to carry on. He is an aggressive bat that can go big.
Yeah, this lefty-righty partnership, could cause a bit of problems. It always seems to work out in the favor of the batting team.
Well stopped. At cover. Bounce was a bit awkward. And Nosh is not giving Malik time to maneuver. You can see Nosh, he's so good at adjusting to conditions. So quick through the air right now on a hard length.
Yeah, he has a lot of confidence in his execution, which he has every reason to have that confidence. He's executed so well for USA through the years. Took him a long time to crack that T20 team.
There's your arm ball. There's the variation that makes him such an excellent T20 cricketer.
Absolutely. It took too long for him to crack that team. He was he was playing T20 for USA in 2018, but we got the T20 international status to associates just after that. And until it was up until about 2023 that he was out of the team.
Yeah, and it really was the major league season that changed his status. Prolific in minor league, but then got picked up by MI New York. Didn't play at the beginning of the year. Got in towards the back end. Big run-outs, big wickets. Kyron Pollard had him open the bowling in Major League Cricket in a playoff scenario. And at that point, all heads were turned. And the right heads were turned as well to get 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 rightfully into that T20 team.
So good in the field.
Well lifted. Wonderfully played, Ahad Malik.
Very well played right there. Just a confident shot. See, backs away, gives himself some space, but times it well. Does exactly what he wants to do with it.
Malik, while he's, yes, great between the wickets running, he's phenomenal in terms of his footwork. Doesn't move a lot, but just keeps things moving in the correct direction. Close of over number 5, 35 for 2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's very active with his feet. And 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 will start this over on strike against 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, who switches ends for the final over of the power play. Nice recovery here after a couple of wickets. Thanks to the 12-run fourth over, they tack another 7 on, which is useful.
I'm curious to see if 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 run up has any hindrance because of that little lift. If I think back to 23 when minor league cricket was being played on this, he seemed to be okay from either end, but this will be a real test now as he returns back to Rydal, Georgia.
Yeah, true. I think it's a little bit less of a dramatic lip on that side of the stumps. He'll be bowling over the stumps as a right-arm fast bowler. He'll know 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 quite well, having played with him over the years. Bowled to him in the nets, I'm sure.
I'm looking at 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂, and he's already looked at that landing area. First ball, and his eyes are already down there. Just keep your eyes peeled on 𝗂𝗍's reaction to his landing.
I remember the first time we saw 𝗂𝗍 at Church Street Park against Morrisville years ago. That's a wide. 𝗂𝗍's protesting a little bit. Discussing the movement of the...
Well, it was deemed a wide, and there's clear bit of deviation off the body, and 𝗿𝗍𝗪 made sure to say, yeah, I hit it as well. Good sportsmanship there.
Yeah, great sportsmanship. We want to make sure everybody gets everything right. Raj is going to skip free down the pitch, but the ball's going to sail over the stumps. Another dot ball, so Raj 𝗿𝗍𝗪 having a difficult time to getting off strike here against 𝗂𝗍. And as I mentioned before, I remember the first time we saw him in Morrisville at Church Street Park, he was raving about the ground, and the fans were raving about his bowling. I remember how good he was and has been ever since. And that one is going to be given wide.
Yeah, again, you can already see just a touch more inconsistent maybe is Dry, and he has just a couple of looks at that landing area. I'm not saying it's completely the reason as to why. Seemingly is fine through the crease, but as a fast bowler, if there's just other things plaguing your mind, if you're worried about landing, you're not able to execute the way you need to.
Up in the air, cranked. And over the fielder. What a moonshot there. Raj 𝗿𝗍𝗪 lets some of the pressure off.
Have some of this, 𝗂𝗍. Well, again, bowled together at the nets. And 𝗿𝗍𝗪 says, you didn't target that one, and I'm not the 18-year-old you were bowling at a couple of years ago. I've got plenty of power in my game.
Well, that was a big boy shot for sure. To the moon and back. And this power play is looking interesting. 𝗂𝗍 says, all right, we'll do it with this one.
Yeah, better direction on that. Not giving 𝗿𝗍𝗪 time, but brilliant little battle here. And again, the Fire need a batter to stand up. 𝗿𝗍𝗪, yeah, he's the batting sub. Here's your opportunity to do it.
Very good battle we have on our hands here this innings. There's a lot of runs to get, but this, with one ball to left, it's been an interesting power play. It'll just be the one to end the power play at 43 for a loss of 2. And Aman, what are your feelings about where Atlanta are in terms of the likelihood of crossing the line?
Not in a bad spot. You look at that worm, and this was where the Raiders just had a little ascension, but they're on a very similar path at the moment. It's about having that one big partnership, and that's the key. Can you keep that line steady, keep the dots away from it, and whether that's 𝗿𝗍𝗪, whether that's Malik, have that big total. Someone has to put a big total on the board through a nice partnership.
Well, Raiders Unlimited didn't lose their second wicket until the 9th over. But after 6, they were 49 with a loss of 1. And right now, the Fire are 43 for 2. And Raj 𝗿𝗍𝗪 catching up a bit on that run rate. We saw him pinned there for a bunch of dot balls to start that 6th over, but released some of the pressure with a 6. And that combined with a wide gave 7 on the over. And combined with the single at the end gave 8 on the over.
And that's what the whole point is that you're not out of this game at all. Even with the early 2 wickets, you're still very much within the game. and within the context as Daniel Barb, he's got the ball in hand, so plenty of left arm spin available. And we'll see if this matchup with the left-hander proves to go in the favor of the Raiders or the Fire.
Whipped away there. And we're rotating strikes so far against Daniel Babb.
And again, it's trying to feel out Babb. They would have seen a bit more notch conjugate than they would have Babb. So no need to throw your hands at it yet. Just pick and choose your deliveries. Mid-wicket's open. Take that gap. Get 6 to 8 and over in your own unique way. Push to 2 if you can. But again, maturity from a partnership is what's required for the Fire. It's not about trying to find 2 or 3 boundaries every over. Not yet.
Good running there. Barrage intent right from go.
And with 2 individuals who are quick between the wickets and very instinctive runners, there are opportunities to turn certain balls that might not be there or maybe half chances into ones. I think that last one's a great example of how any 2 less decisive folks could have easily been run out.
Absolutely. But we know how well Malik moves. And so with Raj getting off right out of the gun and just communicating with each other, you know Malik is going to make up the ground. We have a situation here where we've got 5 runs from the over off of 5 balls, and it's very good stuff. I'm just going to get the 1 on that one, but that ends the over with, looks like 6 runs. 49, we lost to 2 after 7, and Aman, this is how you navigate these middle overs.
Yeah, no question. Again, we saw the ascension later on from the Raiders, the Lightning, and the partnerships are what's going to be key. And you look at the early partnerships from the Raiders, the big one, you look at Snell Patel, Sujit Naik, able to hold together 34 runs of their own. You've already got a 34-run partnership here brewing between Malik and Viraj Vaghela. So if they can extend this out or get a couple more of these, you're in this ball game.
Absolutely. They got some aid there from the extras department. That loose over from Abhishek Pardkar. We bowled 5 wides to start, then a wide, and there was a leg by in there, and then 2 wide. So the big question here is, have the Raiders made it easy on Atlanta Fire? And I think that you could argue that they definitely have with all those extras. I mean, just imagine this current situation with 10 less runs on the board or 9, 8 less runs on the board. It's a lot more pressure for Atlanta Fire.
And even at this point, the required run rate's still under 8. There's nowhere really to go. You are still very much in if you get 6s.
Just went a little loose down the leg here. Going to go away for 4. And Ahad Malik did not make any mistake there.
Yeah, just far too short that time from Danish. Needed to be pitched up. And even on a wicket that's very much tough.
An appeal. I don't think it was ever very close at all.
But a better length that time. Again, the first 4, the length was just subpar. And if you're here, you're forcing the batter forward and you're forcing him to play off that grass. And we've seen already a couple of spots that will kick, will turn big. So make use of the wicket you're on.
100%. There's a replay right there. straight. And a boundary. Goes for 4 runs right there. 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃.
𝗃𝗃𝗃 looks brilliant, and it looks in some kind of rhythm today. And given the opportunity as the batting sub comes in for 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 𝗂𝗃𝗃, and gets a couple in his space and says, full toss. Thank you very much.
Hey, you can't miss those, and 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 is up to the task. He's tuned in right now. You got to put the bad ones away.
For 𝗂𝗃𝗃, when he's pitched 2 deliveries on a good length, dot balls or singles. When he's been short or full toss, boundary.
Caught. Just as we praise the youngster, he picks out the fielder. Dinesh, that ball turned a ways. 𝗵𝗺𝗃 tried to hold up a little bit. He was through the shot pretty much. Plays it right into the hands of the fielder.
Yeah, again, not that short, but it was the extra bit of turn off this surface that just undid Viraj and 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃. How often does he make a play at backward point? Does it yet again, and the Fire are 58 for 3.
𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃, his fielding in Major League, his fielding with USA, he's always in the action. He's always causing problems. I remember this season, him getting a run out. You could almost see it coming. The lackadaisical running from, I think it was the LA Knight Riders, and 𝗂𝗃𝗃, you could see him just foaming at the mouth for a chance, and he got it, and he converted, and this is what he does. He makes big plays and big moments in the field. It's almost like you get another over bowling out of him in terms of production. And 𝗬𝗂 𝗪𝗂𝗃 makes his way into the middle, the Omani international. I think he's going to have to play a really big role today.
Yeah, no question. Also, with 2 left-handers out there, you think, okay, could we just neutralize the leggy? Could we neutralize the 2 left-arm spinners with these matchups? Close of 8, 58 for 3.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Atlanta Fire have a deep bench, as we've talked about many times here. But right now in this team, they got a lot of guys who can strike quickly. You want to bridge the gap right now. I think 𝗬𝗂 𝗪𝗂𝗃 is going to play a big role in that. I think at some point we'll see Sunny Patel. He's very capable of that as well. And Heath Richards is going to get the ball. And he'll be bowling from this north end.
And Heath Richards, I thought, had a much better season bowling in minor league cricket than he's had in years past. He's put on more muscle, but the thing is he looks more fluid through his bowling action. In years past, it was robotic. He didn't feel like he could get his arm around. It was coming really just so straight without real pace. Now you see him running through the crease nice and hard. You're seeing his arm come in more naturally, and he's getting good movement because of it. Now, the one thing in minor league cricket he didn't do was bowl at full pace. He was just trying to offer some control. I'm curious to see what kind of pace he's bowling at today.
There's that bounce we were talking about. Has some interesting stuff happening there in the middle there, almost a run out as there was hesitation.
And Heath is someone that's going to extract great use out of this wicket. This is the run out chance. Probably would have been out had it been a direct hit. You don't mind the shy at the stumps.
And there's that eagerness that we talk about with Malik in the middle. Pulled behind square. 4 runs.
These are the balls that Richards had cut out really through minor league cricket, and that plagued him early on in his minor league career. It's just too short. It's not incredibly well directed. And with your backward square as wide as he is, there was never going to be a chance that a fielder was going to cut that off.
And really not a good delivery there from Heath. You know, you mentioned how much more fluid he looks at than he did in prior seasons. Part of that, you can see that with the way his head ends after his follow through, where his head ends up. In a position to make a play in the field if he has to. But he certainly missed on that second delivery there to Zishan Maksud, who did not miss.
And again, Maksud is so smart about the way he goes about his business. He has such control and such an idea about how he wants to play his cricket that he's not going to overdo anything. You watch him bat and it's very sensible. He's been in so many big-time situations for Oman.
Absolutely. It's always exciting to me, Oman, when we see associate internationals from the Cricket World Cup League 2 in minor league, in these opens here in the USA. Very exciting to me because these are the guys that we get to see USA play against. And we have a lot of respect for them.
I think great example of that, not only Maksud, but Akasha Prajapati, another one of those Omani cricketers that have found their way into our domestic circuit and started to play more of minor league cricket, more of the opens. And then you talk about your Aaron Johnsons, obviously the Canadian folks, but still, you know, the Harsh Thakkars of the world. Ansh Patel.
Yep, earlier today we saw Prince Singh, Canadian. Flicked there. Put down a little bit, just misfielded just a hair, but recovered.
Not a bad over from Heath, but that boundary makes it the perfect over for the Atlanta Fire. You've already picked up 9 from it. And again, the Fire don't have to do anything extravagant. 150 is a good score on this wicket, but it's not an impossible one to chase down. Now with the extras that have seemingly come on the board very consistently, thanks to the Raiders bowlers.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You said it right there. A lot of extras. It's 13 off of wides alone at this phase. You take those away, you got 55. Looks quite different. That'll wrap up the 9th over here. 69. The loss of 3. Really anyone's game right now.
Yeah, no question about it. Again, the Fire just have to continuously do this. Find ways to get 6 to 8 and over, if not more. And then the Raiders have to break into this partnership. And where do they go? Is it Sujit Nayak at some point? The problem is you got 3 left-arm spinners and a leggy with 2 left-handers out there in the middle. You've almost been neutralized in your options.
And 𝗂𝗫𝗂𝗃𝗃 is staying on. He went for 9 in his last over, but had the wicket.
Looks like they want to call someone in. What's needed? Is there a helmet that's required? Or a fielder that's on the ground, actually. Sitting in a backward square. may need some water, and that's a scary sight to behold.
Yeah, something you don't want to have is somebody sitting on the ground, not doing too well. Let's hope that
it's Heath. It's Heath right after he's come on to bowl, and you can see his right foot, he's not bending. His ankle on his right foot, something has happened. And you're hoping it's just a twist and nothing too serious. But there's a major serious limp as he's trying to walk off the field. Fortunately for him, he's able to walk off on his own power, but these are just scary things.
Yeah, not good. You don't want to see a leg injury to somebody who's a fast bowler. You don't want to see a leg injury to anybody. But how important are your legs when you're a fast bowler as far as generating all of your pace? He's starting to walk a little bit more smoothly now, but he'll walk off the field and hopefully continue to walk better and better. And because of these substitutions we have for the roles, it really helps Raiders Unlimited right there. If they were planning on giving Heath 4, they have somebody they can turn to from the bench.
And back to that point about the two lefties. Again, you've got 3 spinners, all of whom, 4 spinners, all of whom take it back into the left-hander. So how effective can they be, and how much do you feel comfortable utilizing their skill sets?
Well, if you've got yourself a really good googly that you can switch to as your stock ball, which some leggies do. Now that's impressive amount of skill to be able to be just as good as that at that. Nice safe sweep shot there, staying on top of it. And tell you what, has Malik looked good there in the middle? Has he looked comfortable and composed? Really kind of the key to this innings.
Yeah, I agree that his poise seemingly is going to be a huge factor.
We're not going to look for 2 on this one. Happy to just hand it over back and forth. And why not? You really just need to do this. You need to rotate strike here through these middle overs. We're almost to the end of the first half of this innings. 3 balls left. Fire in a good position. This one loose down the leg. It's going to keep giving wide.
Again, it's those extras. Those consistent number of extras seemingly never letting up and then allowing the Fire to, even when they're not hitting boundaries, comfortably get to 7, 8 and over.
It really takes the pressure off. Flighted. And that's put away. 6 runs. Shot there from Malik.
Beautiful shot there from Malik. Again, he's so comfortable against the spinners. And when you get him into a position to sweep, he always just seemingly takes advantage. And 𝗂𝗃𝗃 just struggles with his lengths continue. He just is unsure of where to bowl. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that sweep manipulate him into a bad length.
Well, he takes a big hoik at it. Does Malik. And Zishan Maxwood will face the final ball of the first 10 overs with Atlanta Fire at 79 with a loss of 3. Still really anyone's game, but Fire have to be happy with their recovery. And a uneventful end to the 10th over brings up 80 for Atlanta Fire. And a loss of 3, and they're chasing 151.
Pick up 11 runs in that over, seemingly out of nowhere. And that's the most impressive part about this is not only are the Fire set to chase this thing down, they might do it with deliveries to spare, overs to spare.
If you go back and look at the first innings, Raiders Unlimited were at 67 with a loss of 2 after 10. They piled on another 93 runs from there, or 83 runs from there. So a long way yet to go, and we're going to see a new bowler in the attack. So don't go anywhere. Cued there. He tried to help it around the corner, but was fooled by the change of pace there.
Yeah, you see Daniel Lamb has the ball in hand, and again, this is, I feel, as a result, A, to the Heath Richards injury, but B, to the fact that all your spinners bring the ball back into these two left-handers.
There's that bounce. It gets away from everyone. It's rolling. They'll collect it. Minimize the damage. Thanks to the help of the lush outfield.
Again, because of the 11th run over, you've got a little bit of leniency on your rate here. These two run nicely. And then just beyond that fact, seemingly there's no pressure. The keeper's now gone back.
Well placed. 4 runs there from 𝗏𝗃 as he continues to be the key to the innings.
You just have a look at the active feet yet again. The way he just was able to move himself and maneuver out of the way of the ball, giving himself room, and just really chipped it over cover.
That's going to land safely in front of the fielder. Just a single. So Fire now just motoring along. 88 for 3 in the 11th over. See if Daniel Lamb can find an answer.
The big key for me here is these Fire batters can't get bored or can't get complacent. You've worked so hard to get to this point to where you're really just able to cruise your way through. But if you just try to hit a rash shot, you get out. It's a whole new ball game. New batters have to come in and figure their way out of a bad scenario.
Done a good job staving off the dots. Well placed there. 4 runs.
Excellent from Zishan Maksud. Again, we talked about how he has so many options and plays in such a safe manner. Take advantage of the loose ones. 2 boundaries in the over, and you pick up another 12 runs. So you make it 12 runs with 10 off the bat. 11 gone, 92 for 3.
We sit here heading into the 12th over, and we're going to take a look at that. Look at that red line right there. It is takeoff time for the Atlanta Fire. That's about as steady of a rise as you're going to see. And they are leaving behind Raiders Unlimited, who desperately need a wicket right now, in part because of the fact that over the last 5 overs, since the power play, we've only seen 5 dot balls.
It's super impressive what we've seen out of this Atlanta Fire team, and that's coming out without seeing Aaron Jones because he's no longer part of this lineup. Lahidru Malanta getting out early, Rishi Pandey getting out early, and then from there they were able to steady the ship. And you haven't had to go to Jamar Hamilton or Shatif Vanshkalkvik or Sunny Patel yet.
17 dot balls in those first 6 overs in the power play, and only 5 since in the last 5 overs. Very impressive stuff here from 𝗏𝗃 and Zishan Maksud, especially. I've come to expect this from 𝗏𝗃. And 𝗬𝗏 always able to gauge himself to the occasion. It's one thing to be mature. Come on, it's another thing to be able to execute. And 𝗬𝗏 is both of those in spades.
Yeah, there's no question. And again, you can just see it with the approach and the continued measuredness of both individuals out there in the middle. You see that they're just trying to keep themselves in the game. They aren't looking to win it all in one over. And I think that's something that gets lost in cricket. In T20 cricket, oftentimes you feel that you can win it all with one shot. You can't. You've got to just start chipping away in the fire or going meticulously about that.
Well, there's a dot ball, which is exactly what you need here to build pressure if you're Raiders Unlimited. They haven't seen consecutive dot balls since the 6th over. Let's see what 𝗂𝗍𝗃 can pull out of his sleeve. Getting almost to the stages of desperation if you're Raiders Unlimited.
These are the shots I'd want to see just cut out. It's not a bad option with fine leg up in the ring, but you take a lot of risk when you just don't have to force it yet. The required run rate has just, for the first time all game, gone below 7. You've done everything right at this point. Don't just throw it away.
You have plenty of time here. Now we have consecutive dot balls for the first time since the 6th over, and the last person to do it was 𝗂𝗍𝗃. Short. Just pulled for just the one run. Just all you need right now. Just rotate strike. Don't let the pressure build up. 𝗂𝗍𝗃 struck in the 3rd over with the 5th ball. The over following 2 dot balls. 𝗬𝗏 strike there after the 2, and this one climbs on Malik. No damage, and there's 1 ball left to go in the 12th.
Yeah, there's plenty of zips on this wicket, and 𝗂𝗍𝗃, he's a guy that you're going to look at alongside Abhishek Purarkar as individuals that have to step up in this moment. You need your best players to change the game, and 𝗂𝗍's done his bit so far. He gets out this over cheap. All right, some scoreboard pressure will be reinserted, and your next over has to be a wicket-taking one.
Similar delivery to the previous one. Going to end on a dot. So 4 dot balls from 𝗂𝗍𝗃 in the 12th over. That's exactly what the Raiders Unlimited needed. We're heading into the final 8 overs. Atlanta Fire only need 57 runs.
That's what 𝗂𝗍𝗃 is. Anytime his side needs an over, a big over, he's the one to bowl it, whether it's at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle. And I think what he's done exceptionally well is work on his bowling in the middle periods. That's where he tended to struggle earlier in his minor league career because he was a steam-up guy. So when it's swinging, he was brilliant. At the end, when he needed Yorkers, he was great. But there was something that was left to be desired. Didn't have too many options. Since we've seen him develop the cutters and the slower deliveries and the back of the hand ball, and now you've seen him become a much more effective, well-rounded seam bowler.
It looks like ภิvanav is going to take the ball here for Raiders Unlimited, and he might be the beneficiary of the pressure that 𝗂𝗍𝗃 built up if he plays his cards right.
Well, we know of he's not a bowler by trade. He does bowl, and he bowls some off spin. And it's 2 left-handers. Again, that matchup playing on the minds of the Raiders. You bring in the off spinner because you don't want that ball turning back in. And how important is it to have left-handers up and down your lineup, Nate? Because effectively, you've neutralized 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗃 and 𝗏 𝗦𝗽𝗃 without ever having to play them.
And both of those, especially particularly 𝗏, I've been wondering when he'll get back in the attack. And we're just trading strike once again. It's the way to go.
Need something to change here, do the Raiders. They need the wicket. I think Malik is your more profitable man, but Maqsood wouldn't hurt. Could you imagine you get to the 15th over and 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗃 has 3 overs to go or 2 overs to go?
Well, 𝗏 has been very good in his couple of overs. This one climbs up. Good job by the keeper. Snell Patel. Appeal. Umpire isn't buying it.
The Fire just can't throw the wicket away. Don't mind the reverse sweep option, but then Ahad Malik was nearly halfway down the track. And again, those are things that cannot be happening. You have got to find your communication, and you've got to see yourself to the end of the line.
Well, this matchup tactic of bringing in the righty has helped build up pressure here. And we've got back-to-back 2-run overs heading into the 14th. Still some work to do for Atlanta Fire. They can't take it for granted. 55 needed off of the final 7 overs.
And how quickly does that required run rate jump back up? It was just under 7, and now it's nearly 8. Then that's the big storyline. That's how you claw back into a game. You develop pressure through your dot balls, and you make things nice and tight.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what they've done with 7 dot balls in the last 2 overs. Only 5 from the prior 5. This is how you manufacture the pressure.
Again, we're in over 15. There's still 2 overs of 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗃. And give a lot of credit to the left-handers out there for the Atlanta Fire for neutralizing that matchup. 𝗏 𝗦𝗽𝗃 has not taken the ball yet.
The lefties have done the trick for certain. We're going to get some more overs here of fast bowling.
I'm surprised not to see a change of ends for Abhishek Paradkar. He struggled with the run-up from this end pretty consistently. And again, while he did take the wicket of Lehiru Malantha, bowled plenty of extras early in the day.
Yeah, he's responsible for 8 of those wides in the 4th over alone. Struck but not well enough and not directed well enough, just the 1.
That'll be okay. Again, you don't have to do anything to reinvent the wheel. Now, required run rate is just below 8 at the moment, and they've been able to manufacture their way to 8. The big part is that the dot balls, like you mentioned, before over 12, they'd only faced, 5 dot balls since the power play.
That's right, 5 and 5, and then in the last 2 overs, 7 dot balls, and that builds your pressure back up. But you want to rotate strike right now. You want to get back in that habit.
This is where the danger of bringing Abhishek Paradkar back was. He was struggling with the extras. He wasn't able to find a consistent landing spot and a place to be accurate. And if he consistently is giving up wides, but you've gotten 2 off the first ball here, and while it doesn't seem like much, the margins are so fine, this gets you to 7 just with singles.
Absolutely. It lets the pressure off that you spent the last 2 overs building up. Once again, another wide as Abhishek apparently continues to struggle with this run-up.
I think at some point you've got to go try to slow it down if you're Paradkar. And I don't mean try to take pace away, just not rolling your arm quick enough through, but genuinely bowl your cutters, use this wicket. There are some demons in this pitch. We've seen a couple just shoot right up off a length. But it's so hard to execute any plan when, as a bowler, you're thinking about your feet landing.
Short. Pulled. Looks like it stopped well at the boundary.
You scored 4 off 2. Very simply in the end, and now you pick up 4 more singles, and you've somehow gotten to 8 just because the extras.
And we're at 100 for Atlanta Fire. Just 51 needed now. What a job these two have done in the middle.
That's where he wants to be, 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃. On a length, right over top the off stump, and from there, you let Malek, you let Maqsood make decisions, but also you let the wicket react. And that's the one where we've easily seen that same ball jump well up and even cut around. So if you start there, 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃, you're going to find more success.
Yeah, put some doubt in the batter's minds. Take advantage of the demons that you mentioned before. And those wides just remove the pressure to try to get 2 off of something.
There's also not many 2s on offer here
No.
once the fielders are in the deep because the ball isn't really traveling into big pockets. It's not a necessarily enormous ground that has those deep pockets. So to get 2, balls have to be placed exceptionally well.
Up in the air. Keeper going back. Slip's going to make a diving attempt. Or sorry. He's going to put it down.
That was so necessary for 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃. Would have done his confidence world good, but the Raiders needed that wicket. And you could see the desperation out of short third. Gave everything he could to get down the hill. Diving effort, just was never underneath it. No chance goes up in smoke, and again, as that required run rate just hovers around 8, there's just 49 runs left to get. Fire in a commanding position.
1 ball to go, barring any wides. And a good delivery there from 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 to end the over. 102 for 3. Need 49 from the last 6.
And you can just hear the frustration from 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃. Not his sharpest day. Not in either of the 2 games. His first time in the Atlanta Open, he really wanted to come in, make an impact. And it hasn't been the way he wants to remember it. Frustrated as he's walking to his fielding spot. Still just clamoring. But has to put that out of his head. He has the other over to go to, but there's so many overs that are left for 𝗬𝗎 𝗫𝗍𝒽 to deal out. He has so many options to turn to. And finally, it's finally going to 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 here in the 15th.
Yeah, I don't think you can wait too much longer here. Lefties are not in the middle. 𝗏𝗏 is just too quality to risk getting through this innings without him bowling his entire quota. And he starts with the dot ball. Even after the couple of wides there from 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃, that over just went for a 6, and she had 2-2-6. That's still pressure for Atlanta Fire, who were rolling before that. Swatted. There's a race to the boundary. Fielder dives. It's going to go all the way for 4.
There's nothing to do with your left-right combination there. That's just a poor delivery from 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. Touch too wide. And once he pushed it that wide, it was going to be far too easy. And that fielder never really in contention. Now you go back, why is it that wide? You think about why is Notch trying to keep it away? Well, he's worried for how much the ball could turn back in. Again, to the leg side of both left-handers. It's such a chess battle, these matchups.
Four runs. Turned around the corner.
It's awfully predictable. You went short and wide, were punished, so you're going to be fuller and straighter. And exactly that. Ball turns back towards you. And just helping get around the corner. There's a backward square that was never in contention. 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃 just had to watch it trickle over the rope. What a start. 8 runs from the first 3 deliveries.
That takes the required run weight below 8. 7.45. Straight. It's going to be the one, though.
Your damage for the over is done. You don't have to take on 𝗏𝗃, which is such a relief because whilst you might be able to get him early, typically later in the over, he just starts to wear you down. He figures you out. This leaves a big hole in Sujeet Naik's plan, though. Where does he turn back to? Is he willing to give Nash a 4th over? Is he willing to give 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃 a 4th over? When is Cornet Dry going to get his 4th? And who fills around the gaps?
And from which end?
Yeah, do you try a change of ends for 𝗵𝗂𝗃? If you're going to have to go back to him, why not go from that northern end of the ground?
No, and with 3 singles after the 2 fours. Excellent over here for Atlanta Fire. 11 from it. 113 for 3 after 15.
So where do you go, Sujeet? You have overs of your own that you can turn to. I'm surprised not to see him have the ball in his hand, but going in a completely different direction. Going for a new option. 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗃, he'll change ends. So more of the off spinner. He was good. And that other over that he bowled just gave up 2 runs. And sensing this is a moment in the game, Nate.
Absolutely. He was quite good. I don't think you should hesitate going back to him with the 2 lefties out there still. Interesting thing is he's going to have to do it from the south end.
I'd be curious to see the lengths in which he bowls. I'm also curious to see who comes out next for the Fire. Is it Sunny Patel? Who's next? Does Stephen Taylor try his hand? But first you got to get to that next batter. Fielder in place. And just the one. Again, Sekadom's not a huge turner of the ball, but he bowls to a plan. Squeezed away. Bisects the infield and will run all the way to the rope for 4. No, just holds up. And that thickish outfield just saving a couple of runs.
Well, the summer of healthy growth has made this grass quite thick.
One of those rare 2s that we spoke about. No doubt. All the way.
Well, I think that's the risk. You have kind of a part-time bowler in there. It's risk reward right now. You're going for the wicket. This is what you risk here, the 6.
Abdullah Malik has just, again, read the game situation. Would have understood that because it was shorter, runs came on, would probably try to go fuller and takes advantage. Muscled. And we'll just be muscled for 1. But this is all that's left for the Fire to get. That required run rate well below 7. And again, just puts the Raiders on that back foot. They're at risk of losing back-to-back games and effectively out of the tournament. Pressure. That's just chalked up to pressure, Nate.
Yeah, no question. And this Raiders Unlimited team, what a good first innings they've had. Just letting it slip away with these wides.
You're way back. It's to string a couple of dot balls together to close this over. Hit 2 of them. Maybe just give some life to 𝗂𝗄𝗽, who's got to come in at some point, you reckon? Massive. On to the other field. A 6 to close the over.
Just absolutely annihilated here. These two lefties, my, have they done an incredible job. 𝗚 goes down for this one. Sends it over everything, every piece of hardware. I had to go all the way into the other ground to bring this one back.
Just 21 more runs left to get. And again, this was a partnership that is for the ages. We talked about how it would be one partnership that was required for the Fire to get over the line. 𝗿𝗏 𝗂𝗽 and 𝗏 had a 34-run partnership. And now these two have just continued that path since the wicket of 𝗿𝗑𝗽.
Biggest over of the inning is coming on the heels of another big over. 11 in the 15th, 17 on the 16th, and this kind of destroys all the pressure you built up from overs 12 through 14, where you conceded only 10 total runs.
Danish has the ball. The leggy is going to be given a chance. 𝗂𝗄𝗽 has just got the 1 over left. So you reckon he might be the next over. But I'm just rather shocked to see the leg spinner here in the 17th. Innovative. Adjusted nicely to the ball, and we'll pick up 2. Wasn't pretty, Nate, but it was effective.
It was very interesting, that's for sure. He had to wait up on that and then just got under it and flicked it up in the air, but definitely to a safe place.
Premeditated. Wow, not given a wide. Why is that not wide?
Very impressive. This partnership has gone for 72 runs. The heroes of this innings.
Strong fight back from Danish, though. Yes, a 72-run partnership, but it won't matter unless they get the final 19.
Well swept there. Nice and safely.
And we mentioned how that required run rate was starting to peak up and get to that 8. It's below 6 now. It's all in the hands of the Atlanta Fire and what would really be a come-from-behind victory. Well stopped. We've seen some incredible efforts on the field. That one right up there with the rest.
Yeah, good job getting to that and keeping it in play. Just 2 runs from it. Danish has conceded 23. He's got that wicket in his first over.
Just enough bat. Just enough bat. Close of over 17, 135 for 3.
Pretty good over from Dinesh in the situation, holding it under the required run rate. Boy, I'm struggling saying that. today.
Alliteration.
uh,
No surprise that 𝗂𝗍𝗃 is going to bowl his final over here with just 16 runs left to get. It feels that the Fire are in position 16. That's all that remains between them and that target line in the final 3 overs. Nate, all right, 𝗂𝗍𝗃 is going to bowl this one. Let's say we get to the next over. Who do you turn to?
let me think here for a second. Well, you got one more over from 𝗏𝗃. You're not going to bowl Heath because he's walked off with the injury.
I think you got to go 𝗏𝗃. I think I turn it back to maybe a 𝗏𝗃.
Yeah, I think so. Now, you could try the 𝗵𝗺𝗃 experiment from the other end. See if that fixes his wides issue.
First things first, get to that over. That won't help that. That is unbelievable.
Well, that also brings up the half century there for 𝗏𝗃. What a shot.
Statement of authority, to say the least. And he's just now signaled to his side and acknowledge what he's just done. That's not an easy shot to play off anybody, especially 𝗂𝗍𝗃.
Very impressive. Just a confidence play. 𝗏𝗃 has had his eye in for quite some time now. Like you said, you got to get to that. You only have 10 runs needed from 2.5. You got to get to the next over.
Excellent. A slight appeal. It felt that only 2 men were interested. Fine leg and the keeper.
Feels the air is getting cooler right now.
The Raiders' chances of moving on, that's definitely cooled down as well. And just on fire is 𝗂𝗃.
Well, he has been red hot here. He's done exactly what's been needed of him. Kind of the perfect antidote to this situation. The way that he's played, eager to run, but composed. He did such a good job of rotating strike in these middle overs.
That would be frustrating for 𝗂𝗍𝗃 as well. He's actually bowled quite brilliantly today. Yes, that 1 shot for 6 was probably the statement of the day, but that right there, it's a top edge that could have literally landed at anyone's hands. Instead goes for 4.
Yeah, he has looked quite good today. 𝗂𝗍𝗃 usually does bowl well down here in the south, as you said before. Right now, there's only 6 needed to win. You got to get through this over before you pick who's bowling the next over. But it's desperation right now. For Raiders Unlimited, it's looking very, very unlikely that they'll come away with a W.
And again, that effectively ends their Atlanta Open 2025 without the possibility of getting to the next phase. And it is just 1 shot away now.
𝗏𝗃 moves to 60 off of 42. Just been dialed in this entire time.
Just spotted a 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃. It's not even that wide. He's, again, so active on the crease that he's generated that room for himself. 2 runs left for the Atlanta Fire. And we'll level out the scoring and send it over to the next over. Who's going to bowl it? We'll have to answer that question, Nate. 150 for 3.
Can I get a plastic file in a short? I think we have a game with them in the morning.
So, Nate, who bowls the last over? Who would you give it to?
To defend one.
Yeah. You've got to try.
I think this is where 𝗏𝗡 comes into play.
Ah, you captain.
I'm just joking. It looks like they're going to go back to 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏 for his final over.
Been a brilliant day of cricket all around, Nate. We've seen some unbelievable scores. Think about a 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 half-century. 𝗂𝗏𝗡 Chand we saw here today, alongside a couple of other phenomenal plays, and 𝗂𝗏-𝗂𝗏𝗏 would be up there. And again, we have the entire week to go, and that's the brilliant and exciting part about all this.
We've seen so much good stuff. So 𝗂𝗏𝗃 in the first was so good. Jesse Singh blasting his team's way to a good, healthy total. And you would have thought Raiders Unlimited had done the same, putting up a nice big score.
Big shout, says no. Just a bit of drama. Of course there's got to be drama.
Of course there does. Of course there does. Let's see if 𝗂𝗏-𝗏𝗏 can end not out, carrying his bat after saving the day for the Atlanta Fire.
Comfortable, calm, and cool describes the Atlanta Fire in their batting innings, chasing down 151 with such ease, thanks to that man with his helmet off. 𝗂𝗏-𝗏𝗏 carries the side to victory.
Oh, he was so good, and joined there by Zishan Maksud, whose experience came in quite handy. His maturity came in quite handy. They knew they just had to rotate strike. They knew they had to stay out of trouble. He did a great job playing safe shots, running smart, and not letting the dot balls build up.
And the Raiders, again, that disappointment. 2 games today, and on the wrong side of both chases. They'll have to come back and regroup tomorrow, but the Atlanta Open might effectively be done. The 2 Atlanta sides, 1 game, 1 win apiece. We thank you guys for joining us here at the the Button-Viewers Cricket Complex here in Rydal, Georgia. And we cannot wait to tune back in tomorrow to see what day 2 of the Atlanta Open brings.